Hey, what's up guys? BJ Dell back with a new video all about how to get smooth lines in Procreate. Based on some of the comments in the comment section of my videos, I know that's kind of the unicorn that everybody's looking for. So in today's video, I'm going to walk you through the different brushes that I use and the settings that I use for those, where to find them, also my canvas sizes, and give you some tips and tricks how you can get some sharp, crisp lines. So if you want to learn all about that and more, keep watching. All right guys, so let's go ahead and jump into today's video. Like I said in the intro, this video is going to be all about how to get smooth lines with Procreate. It comes up a lot in the comment section, people asking, how can I get smoother lines? My lines don't look like yours. So I'm going to walk you through that, plus some of the other frequently asked questions that I get in the comments a lot that kind of tie into this. So starting out, the first thing that you want to consider is your canvas size. You want something that's going to show super sharp lines, and if you go with a low resolution canvas, you're not going to get the same outcome. So me personally, I do a lot of work on Merch by Amazon and creating products for that. The kind of default size that you have to upload to is 4500 by 5400. And then 300 DPI. So that's pretty much what I use on most of my works. That way, if I decide to move something over there, it's ready to go. So that's going to give you some pretty sharp, crisp lines. If you're noticing that you're not getting as many layers as I am in some of these videos, it's probably because of the iPad that you currently have. And I actually walked through that in depth in the video called what iPad should I buy for art in 2019? So I'm not going to touch on that in this video, but if you do have a question about that, hop on over to that video and check it out. So that's the size I recommend using. You can go, bigger, a little bit smaller, but definitely 300 DPI and something in the high thousands. So that way you get some crisp lines and it's good for printing as well. The next thing to consider is your brush, and I use what's called the natural inker brush. This is a brush that I found years ago in the Procreate forums. It's a free brush. I linked this in the description below too, so check that out. But a lot of people ask, hey, I downloaded the brush and I'm not getting the same outcome as you are with the brush. And that's because I do adjust the settings to the brush. So I'm going to walk you through those real quick. I have done this in a previous video, but we'll kind of just make this a one-stop video for everything. And this ties into that nice crisp look. So as you can see, natural inker is here. Spacing's turned all the way down. Right now I've got streamline turned down, but we will talk about turning this up later. Jitters down, fall off is down to none. Touch taper, you can see my settings here. Size, I've got set at 0.8%, 81.8 on opacity, and tip is 33.9. Let's hop on over to shape. Scatters turned down to none. Rotations at 0%. Both the shape properties are turned off and it's set to improved. Grain is set to rolling. Scales at 25%. Zoom is at 2.2. Rotation is at 0, and this is under improved as well. Dynamics set to glazed with a cumulative with flow to max. 0.4% on opacity dynamics on speed, and jitter set to none. Size dynamics 0 on speed and none on jitter. Pencil size is set to max, opacity at 0, bleeds at none, smoothings at none, which we'll talk about this later as well. Angle set to 9%, and all the rest of these are set to none with size compression turned off. General, this is kind of up here, just shows you the name, the stamp preview, so on and so forth. And this is all pretty much the same. But here's basically what you really want to look for. The size limits, I have this set to 63%. And this is going to give you like a nice big stroke that you can then control and adjust from the slider over here. A lot of people download it and they're not getting the thick strokes. And the reason why is because I set the size limit higher and then play with the slider over here to have more control over it. So that's one of the main settings you're looking for. And then honestly, just kind of keep on looking back and forth between these, playing around, see what feels comfortable to you. So that's pretty much it for those two settings. So the next part of this I'm going to talk about is how I use the screen to my advantage, talking about using glass screen protectors, no screen protectors, the gloves, so on and so forth. But to kind of walk you through this a little bit better, I usually do this top-down view. I'm going to do a two-part view to this, and I'm going to set a camera down to the side to where you can kind of see like on the actual plane of the iPad to see exactly what my palm and my hand is doing instead of just that top-down view. So let me pause this for a second and we'll switch over and start that up. Okay, so we've got this secondary view camera set up over here. And I want to do that just so you can see what's going on down at this angle down here, as well as that top-down angle. So first and foremost, I use a matte screen protector on my iPad. I absolutely love it. I also use one of these drawing gloves. I've actually got a video all about these gloves, a review video, so if you want to hop on over and check that out after the video is done, feel free. But when I first initially started using my iPad, I just went with just the straight glass. I did not use any screen protector at all. And I've gotten a lot better over time with using some techniques that I'm going to show you today. So if you don't have a screen protector, if you don't have a glove, this is what I recommend. So as you can see here, let's go ahead and start a new layer. If you start to, like you would on paper, have your pen down here and start moving your hand along the screen, your palm is not going to flow nicely along the screen. Now, of course, I've got the screen protector on here that's matte, but just right now without the glove, my hand and my palm is actually still kind of just getting stuck to the screen, and I'm not getting smooth lines across here. It kind of catches, and you can see those lines are not very good. So here is the technique that I started out using. Basically what I do is I let the tip of the pencil do all of the work. I do not put my palm against the screen. I angle the tip and basically let my arm pull the tip around, and that's what I use for the strokes. So I think with this other camera angle, you can see here, this is my palm flat. This is how I'm doing the strokes now. You can see there's a pretty good gap there between. And basically, like I said, I'm not really moving my wrist. I am letting my arm do all the movements for me. And then as I go, I'm adjusting the pressure that I'm putting down on the screen as I go. So number one, with pressure, that's why it's imperative that you get an Apple Pencil. I know a lot of people, kind of invest in the iPad and think, oh, I'll get the pencil later. I'll just use a stylus for now. And really, you do not know what you're missing out on. Just having the Apple Pencil makes a world of difference. I don't really even see a point in just using a regular stylus with the iPad. I don't see, the point in doing digital art if you don't have the pressure sensitivity to go along with it. It makes a world of difference. And I suggest if you don't have one, save up, get one. It will change your life as far as using these programs like Procreate, having that pressure sensitivity. A third-party stylus is not going to do the same thing as what the Apple Pencil is. So with the pressure sensitivity, like I said, you see that my hand I'm not coming up off to take the pressure off. It's actually all just how hard you're pressing down on the tip of the pencil itself. And I'm letting up pressure as I'm coming off on that taper. And that's how I get these nice tapered lines. I usually start my lines by going a little bit harder at the beginning and then pulling up for that taper at the end. You can also start light, go harder, and then off light again so you can get that taper. If you don't like how this taper is out here, you can always use the eraser to give it a little bit more of a taper. But you can see these lines have a lot more just organic flow to them than, say, going here and trying to drag your hand across. This is how you're gonna get those bumpy lines. And like somebody had posted in the comments, it looks like I'm drawing during a 9.0 earthquake. And this is one of those ways that you can definitely kind of get nicer, smoother lines. So the other option is, number one, the matte screen protector. I absolutely love. I know a lot of people like those paper-like screen protectors, but those are like, what, 35, 40 bucks a piece. These, I think I paid 10 or 11 bucks for a 2-pack on Amazon. I've got them listed in the description below too, if you want to hop on Amazon and check those out. And then the gloves, these, 10, 12 bucks for these. But honestly, they make a world of difference, and they allow you to actually use your palm against the screen. It glides really nice and easy, and it does not stick, and you don't get those jitters and jagged lines like you would just with your palm against the glass or palm against another screen protector. So the benefits here, instead of holding your palm up, you can actually use your palm to kind of balance your stroke, and it makes it a little bit more comfortable. You can see my arm is still doing the exact same thing as before. I'm not really moving my wrist too much. You'll see I don't do a lot of, this wrist movement. If I want the, lines to turn, I will just pull my arm around, and once again, just kind of adjust that tip of that pencil as it comes around. So the one thing I would recommend to get better with your lines is honestly just practice daily. Start with a blank canvas like this and just do lines like this. Just practice your pressure and how much you need to press at the beginning, how much you need to let off to get these nice tapers, and then you can go around to those curved lines. And just do this, honestly, the first time, just do this for, half an hour, just practicing. And then once you get good at it, honestly, this is a pretty cool warm-up exercise before you start drawing for the day. If you want to do this for, 5-10 minutes before you start drawing, just to kind of get your hand, in the motion of getting ready to draw, and you kind of feel more fluid. This is a really great practice exercise, and I definitely suggest doing something like that to get started. So I know the other day I did a backgrounds tutorial, and I had this leopard drawing, which I had already had colored in. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the opacity on this guy here and show you how this works in practice here. So let's get to the right layer. So we'll drop the opacity of this, and I'll start a new layer up here. And you'll see how this works actually in practice. So the one thing I talked about before was, number one, when I start out with the sketch lines, these are more or less just a guide to where I kind of want the general area of things to be. You'll see I don't try to 100% just trace these lines, because once again, I like that kind of fluid, organic flow to everything. And if you try too hard to get these to match up 100% perfectly, you're going to look really like, it's number one, like it's a trace job, but number two, it's very mechanical, and it just does not really look that dynamic and fluid. And you'll see sometimes I go through and I'll erase and do it again just to kind of get the right shape. You'll see these aren't really matching up at all. And that's one thing I recommend, is just to stay loose with your lines. This is going to let you just kind of, like I said, be a lot more fluid when you do these. So let's go ahead and do this one as just like a trace line. If I follow this exactly, you'll see, this looks a lot more jagged. It's not as nice. There's not really any taper or line weight in the entire thing. It's just a very, perfect like thickness to the whole thing, and it does not really look that great. Same thing here. Let's try this, and let's go down, and the slower you go, the more kind of jitters you're going to see here. That's why I don't like using that technique. I just like these fast, fluid movements. Now, the one thing you can do is you can use this streamline that I brought up before. So if you turn this all the way up to max, and you want to trace this line like that, you'll get a lot smoother look to it. You'll see those jitters are gone, but your tapers at the end aren't going to be as nice. They don't flow as well, and you'll see it kind of reacts a little bit different. It kind of spills out a little bit more, and then when you try to pull up, it doesn't have that same taper to it. That's why I don't like using these as much. I would use, and usually use, streamline if I'm doing a really huge swoop that goes around like a lot of parts. So let's say this head I was doing all in one. So if I was doing this head like this, I would use streamline so I could do, this entire thing around and get a nice solid, not jagged line. But for the remainder of, the design, I would just use the basic brush without the streamline. Use that mainly for like large circular areas. But there's also a new addition in 4.3 Procreate. If you go to pencil and turn on smoothing, this is another adjustment that you can make to get some smooth lines. And you'll see this actually works a lot different here. The line itself is really quite thin. We did not adjust the size of the line. It just comes out thinner. And to get thicker, you basically have to hold down, kind of work it back and forth, and pull the ink down. And you can see it's a nice smooth line too. And then if you add that and combine it with, streamlining, you can get some really nice smooth lines. So if you're new starting out and you want those smooth lines, but you're just, not able to do it organically with your hand, you could do this, and you see that line is a lot better. And combining that along with the screen protector and the glove, you're going to be able to get some really smooth lines out of combining those settings along with the glove and the screen protector. So main thing is just practice. Hopefully these tips helped you out. Definitely try them, give it a go. And like I said, just keep doing it over and over again until you see results. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. As always, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Hopefully this video helped you out. Wanted to answer a lot of those questions that I see popping up in the comment section. So hopefully I hit the nail on the head with some things that people wanted to see. If I did, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell for notifications so you can get alerted when I post new videos. Also, I want you guys to join the Keep Creating community over on Facebook if you haven't already. Keep Creating, a Learn, Draw, Share art community. The link is in the description below. Post your artwork over there. Get feedback, give feedback, meet new friends. We want you guys to be a part of the fun, so hop on over and join. As for me, I can be found online, bjdell.com, as well as on Instagram and Twitter at bjdell. So until next time, keep creating.